popular back in '89. A lot of kids bought it. It's 1990, boys. Let's get rid of the skeletons.
In the early 80s, skateboarding started off pretty slow.
You guys got a dime?
Shove off.
But things picked up around 1984 as the skateboard craze boomed again. Companies like Paul Peralta, Vision, and Santa Cruz were the industry giants, while backyard pools and punk rock ruled the day.
Yeah, dude!
In the hyped-up environment of the mid to late 80s, a lot of experimentation went on in different areas of skateboarding. As the industry grew, some of the people within it began to question the direction it was taking.
So you had to deal with a lot of non-skaters. That was weird. That was one thing. That was a big thing.
I think it was also just like the advertising and the style of marketing and the way all the pros were being used. It just felt really, for me anyway as a pro, I just felt like too much of a commodity.
Basically, by the end of the 80s, it just kind of got old. And there was a whole new breed of kids street skating, and there was bringing some new life to it.
Me and my buddies, we would just go street skate around, and during that time, it was just left to our imagination, like, oh man, let's try this trick, or we see guys from other towns and tripping out on the tricks that they were doing, and we're like, whoa, I never thought of that.
As street skating progressed, attention shifted away from the once dominant vert contest circuit.
That was a huge shift, you know. Prior to that, contests were the most important thing, and if you didn't do well in a contest, companies weren't going to sponsor you.
I just remember really feeling a big change as far as the way people saw things in skateboarding, because it was up to that point, aside from Gons and Nadas, the street skaters were just style guys, you know, like Scott Oster was a serious guy. Scott Oster was someone that people respected as a pro street skater, and I would never say that he did anything that impressive, you know, but he had good style, you know, he was sick. And those are the guys who won the contest. And I just remember there was kind of a buzz around the stuff we were doing, because the stuff we were doing at that time was just so different than the established pros. For instance, the Moonster contest, I remember nose grinding the rail, and that being the most amazing thing to the crowd and to the other pros and stuff, whoa. Because up to then, the contest rails were a 50-50 and or a board slide was the thing to do. And Tom Knox was there tail sliding it, and that was a big thing, you know?
I think not only were the tricks and stuff in the 80s coming to a head, just, you know, the old school to the new school stuff, I think that the industry itself needed to be revolutionized or sparked up too, because it went kind of crazy for a while, kind of killed itself.
One of the newer companies to make a mark was 8th Street, whose first two videos, Shackle Me Not and Hocus Pocus, featured some of the most progressive skating at the time, while shying away from the glossy style that had been standard up until that point.
The quality of the footage is so bad. It's still a good video. The skateboarding at the time was amazing, so there was nothing you could say about it.
I think that had a lot to do just that it's just easily accessible, you know? You're just look at that cheesy-ass footage of some guy hucking some crap over a ladder. And I had the same size ladder in my yard, and people, I think, could just pull it out and try to hook it up immediately.
This new approach to video making led to 8th Street's next video, a short promo which was released in 1990.
Come around, come around. Come around, come around. Come around, come around. Come around, come around. People made a money, I made a bone. People made a money, I made a bone. Build higher up and feel more alone. Build higher up and feel more alone. Summer sky's warm, the sky is bright. Summer sky's warm, the sky is bright. Summer sky makes its own
guys just kind of brought it to a new level. And all of a sudden there was like a whole new genre of stuff to try and kind of go berserk on. So obviously people being creative as skateboarders are, whatever, it turns all kinds of crazy ways.
Vert was kind of at a stagnant point too, so I felt like it was time to try and keep Vert in tune with the street stuff, you know? I remember I learned him off the hip on the street course at skate camp. Kick the minis off the hip, and I was like, like this has got to be possible on Vert. And once I started trying to flip him and grab him, I was like, oh, if I can catch it in my hand, it's definitely possible. That was when Vert, I think, took even a whole nother turn, starting to incorporate full-on street tricks into the Vert.
You know, skateboarding has to change. Everything has to change or else it dies. And it's just a progression.
So during 1990, everything within skateboarding was beginning to change.
All of a sudden, all these skateboarder-owned skateboard companies come out.
Several new companies were formed around 1990, including Alien Workshop, Black Label, Foundation, New Deal, Planet Earth, Real, Blind, and foremost among them was World Industries, headed by a controversial former freestyle and street skater named Steve Rocco.
He was gutsy, but he's also smart and did a lot of smart moves.
And I think he was pretty successful in that he made the big companies look like bad guys.
As the skaters continued to run the business, function became more heavily emphasized, putting an end to many 80s trends such as wildly varying board shapes.
You can tell, I mean, everything all of a sudden became really cool all of a sudden, right? I mean, everything, like the wheels got small, everything kind of started looking cool, like the way you wish that it would have been for a long time, you know?
With all the new changes came a whole new generation of inspired skaters, also producing a number of influential videos.
Hey, fellas, how's it going?
This is my friend Al.
Hi, how's it going?
He works at Heights Beach High School and lets us skate whenever we want.
For better or for worse, in 1990, the new school took skating to the next level.
We must